Something else I would like to talk about, and that has come to my attention, is the music industry. As some of you know, I'm also a songwriter, performer, and recording artist. Yes, I wear a couple of hats. I do a couple of things, but that's one of the things that is dear to my heart. I really love music. And even as a musician, I've been, I don't know what to refer to myself as, an underground artist. Maybe that's the best definition I can give, because I'm not as popular as some other artists are in our country. And I've been seeing what has been transpiring over the few days in regards to this matter that occurred with Willie Paul and Diamond. And I can only say that let me not even try and weigh into that. Let me just remind you guys of what we are dealing with when we are talking to Kenyan music industry. Let me just try and get you guys in play with what we have in our country. Unfortunately, nepotism and kujuana and backdoor deals have plagued almost every industry in Kenya. Even some of us who are employed, you know that it were not for your family member, for your uncle, for your auntie, for your cousin, for your high school buddy, for your... chances are you wouldn't have qualified for the work you're currently doing. And that's just a fact. Let no one try to convince you otherwise. That in most cases, you find yourself in situations where in almost every industry, it's not even about even music industry peke yake. Everywhere, kujuana Kenya, it's a common denominator. It's quite determining. It's the determination. It's what determines whether you'll get played on certain radio stations. It's what determines whether you'll get some pushes, whether you'll score some deals here and there. Kujuana, yes, it's something. Nepotism, it's something that has quite plagued almost every industry in Kenya, and it's also in music. And as I say this, I'd like to let you know that I wish, even if it was just matters to do with nepotism and all that at least to some extent would have even our own local radio station would consider using a matrix of merit in regards to whether an artist is quite talented or is good at the craft they're doing in order to play their music. Like, let's just start there. If you only played music simply because it's good, not a matter of whether this person is trending on TikTok, whether this said person knows you or knows whoever is the producer of that particular show, or yes, if we're only giving out of matrix that this person has good music, you can have a way to have guys do submissions, and from those submissions, every now and then bring to light the best song, the best talent you've heard so far from what you're picking in order to play for it and put it in continuous rotation. That would really assist the industry. That would really help us by far. It would help us grow. It would even help those ones that are getting opportunities from mere nepotism and having trended on a social media platform, etc. It would even help them, because you see, as much as they are getting these said opportunities in other places, they'd be put in a position where they have to kinda work on their craft in order to beat some people that are already good in the industry. But now the problem is, when that is a problem, when good talent getting airplay is a problem. I can tell you for a fact, I love Nikita Kareng and I love her music, but even her, I do feel like she's dispositioned in a bad situation, because even the airplay she gets is not, how do I put it? It's not what you would hope to get from her, from such talent. You would expect that would be the song played everywhere, that, yeah, guys would be rallying. Okay, like the radio stations would be really putting those kind of talented musicians from our country in clear spotlight view, and have them give Give them their flowers. Give them their well-deserved flowers. Because these people are actually really talented. And when I mention Nikita Karen is quite known. A lot of people know about her. I know her. I've heard her music every now and then, but it's not to the extent I would say I hear some other music from other countries played in our country. It's not in the same. It's not the same. Those things, there's no balance there. Even Nyashinski brought this to light at some point. Nyashinski was quite telling guys like when he came back to the Kenyan industry, he mentioned about having Niger night in Nairobi. He mentioned these things like it goes. Hey, it's quite big than you would even expect. Because now you see, we have our radio station neglecting talent. We have our DJs neglecting talent, yet welcoming talent from all other places and all other countries in Africa. And when it comes to the local scene, they're only picking on the ones that are quite trendy on the social media platforms. And at times I do tell guys, it's good when you blow up on social media. It's a good thing. It's not supposed to be taken lightly, but blowing up on social media doesn't equate you being a good artist. I don't know whether that is quite understood if I were to put it in that way. You being a trend at a particular time. And in these things, when I mention these things, I hope you are picturing the right people in mind. I'm talking of likes of watu kama Steve Simple Boy, watu kama alikuwa anaitwa Kanje ama alikuwa anaitwa nani huyu Warundio Kashkoropia Nyandarua, what was she saying? Yeah, I believe you guys are getting what I'm trying to refer to. I'm referring to these people that quite clearly you can see that we can't say, it's not that they are void of talent, but it's not there. It's not that they don't have something, but it's not there. And them having drone traffic on social media for their whatever they are doing isn't equivalent of them being talented. And sadly, we have such people taking the limelight from very deserving artists that are there. Even without mentioning myself in that list, I can tell you of people like Ace the Don, of people like Timmy Blanco, of people like, what do we call this other dude? Why am I forgetting your name, man? They are quite other artists. They are there. And one day I'll come here and quite put a list down of people who I really acknowledge as being talented. Yet, I don't know how many people know of them. I don't know how many people would say in the comment section that they know Ace the Don. That's one of the most talented brothers I know that exist in our land. And not only him, I would like to know how many people like Ecstatic, like people like, the list is long. One day this deserves another video all to itself. I'll just go down a list of people that I do wonder why the unsung heroes. These people are so talented. They're even getting deals, like Ecstatic had a deal with Sony. So you're telling me Sony could really see the potential in this person, yet on our local radio station, this thing is not clicking to them. So what metrics are they using towards what they put and play? You get what I'm saying? It's quite unfortunate that the industry looks the way it does. I hope that to some extent I do agree with the post I saw from this Jama. I can't even recall his name right now, but he suggested that artists need to open their own radio station and have local music play there, purely Kenyan music only. And I see that idea as very beneficial, not only to us, but even to the music industry in itself growing in the future. Like, you do need such a structure. We do need such a structure in place, because void of this, we'll have the said mainstream radio stations doing as dirty as they always have. You have Menakageni, etc., hyping other artists, not really doing the same for our own artists. I don't know whether you guys quite understand what I'm trying to drive. And the point is simple. The limelight quite doesn't fall on the most talented in our country. And at times it even falls to the most gimmicky artist, for lack of another word. They're very gimmick. That kind of trend on social media. And when these gimmicky artists are put, these are like, I don't want to call them, I don't want guys to picture them as parodies. But they are parodies of what an artist should be. And apparently they catch up fast. They kind of draw traffic on social media. And you find that the same people are the ones being highlighted by even bloggers. The bloggers themselves are not taking time to kind of figure out where the talent is. We have DJs in our country, well known, with big opportunities to play in the biggest or the major mainstreams TV stations and radio stations in our country. Yet they purely play other music from God knows where. I know of one that purely plays rock music. And I don't think they've ever played a Kenyan rock artist, which are there, by the way, they do exist, but you wouldn't find them playing that. And I know these things come from some conditioning that we have as Kenyans. There's this notion, ama belief that we've always had that kitu ya nje ni mzuri kuliko kitu ya home. And it's so unfortunate because you find you can have a person who knows how to do a certain thing in a certain way, but simply it being from Kenya. Like let me even give you the simplest example I can use right now. There are wines and spirit distillers that are quite good at their craft, but they know if they go into the market with their own brand, the possibility of them making a sale is quite hard. But they know if they brand, they do their whatever they are doing, they are refining there, and then package it as an international brand, they'll have an easy time selling it. Heineken, watauza vibaya sana, Juni Heineken. But if they were to brand that beer, a normal name, a name that is owned by us, they would struggle in the market. And I find that to be quite unfortunate because it's a conditioning that we have. We've always believed that our own is not enough and something from abroad is better, regardless of whether or not we are looking on other metrics. It's just a bias that we have within our own. So, ni kujichukia, tunajichukia, ngama ni nini. But it's unfortunate, manze. Because you would even find a person thinking, Nyashinski, akikuja itishe show, 5,000 ameitisha do mob sana for the entrance. Lakini Davido akuja iku entrance yake ni 10,000, ako willing to hiyo 10,000. That's what I'm saying. For me, I would literally tell you, hey, Nyashinski is quite a beast of an artist. He is. And I would even pay that 10K to watch that nigga do his thing. He's that good. Yeah? Unfortunately, I'm not downplaying Davido's craftsmanship, but I would find it to be exorbitant for me to pay all that money to go see Davido. Even the other day here, we had Boys to Men, and the entrance fee for that show was madness. And it was packed. Yet, kwa events za wasanii wetu tu hapa tu locally. Boys to Men are an American-based boys band. Nani wakitambo sana. But you can see the problem and the disconnect that they think that is way better than anything that our local talent has to offer. And it's unfortunate, but I can tell you for a fact, there is talent in Kenya. Even in fact, some of our artists, when they go on the international platforms, we're talking of people like Red Sun, we're talking of people like Nyashinski himself, Calligraph Jones. If you put this thing against the international acts, you might even be shocked that wanawaosha by far. That's the sad thing. And there are others that are undiscovered, that are the same caliber of, if not better. Yet they are never getting the time of day on any radio station, on any social media platform. And even something else I had to quite address as well. Our DJs do fail us. Our own local DJs fail us a lot. Because why do you need to tell me that you as a DJ mixing at a local club somewhere, in that mtaa yenye unaishi, I'm sure there are artists there. I'm sure there are artists coming up with music every now and then. Hata ikwe ni mtaa iko ushago aje, I'm sure there's an artist in that kaloko area you are in, and that kaloko club that you do mix as a DJ. And and my biggest issue with that is, why don't you ever take your time and day and effort to try and just put these people on your playlist? Hapo umejaza playlist yako na wasanii wa nje, and I find it to be quite odd because I believe you as I don't know whether the DJs understand the kind of power they wield in terms of shaping a society's taste of music. If all DJs today decided in Kenya, we're only going to do Jamaican dancehall, we're not going to play Nigerian, we're not going to play bongo, we're not going to play any other music, we will just be playing Jamaican dancehall, you'd be so shocked that the only thing that will be playing in Kenya, the only music that Kenyans will deem as worthy music to listen to, will be dancehalls. I'm giving you that as a fact. If right now our DJs decided we're only going to do South African house, we're only going to play kwaito, we're not going to play any other type of music, you'd find that the society will bend or adapt or embrace the taste of what the DJs are playing. So this angle that I find our DJs sometimes take, like I understand one of the fears that maybe they have is they think if they were to play a local talent's music, they assume maybe that the crowd would be bored, their audience will not take it well. And that's where the misconception comes in. I would insist that you as the DJ wield the power to move what the crowd wants to listen to. It's within your hands. And if you decide to play our own music, to champion our own artist, it'd be something that the DJs have dedicated themselves to do. That anytime you're having a music set, 70% of it is coming from the Kenyan artist you know, in your country, in your own area code. That's the music you're banging in that set that you'll be playing. That would drastically grow the perception of the audience, the perception of Kenyans, to see that indeed there is talent in our country and it needs to be appreciated and supported. I've decided that one day I will hold a DJ's dinner. One day I'll come and announce this. I'll hold a DJ's dinner and I will invite every DJ from whatever county they are in. I would even pay for some of their expenses in terms of travel. And I want to sit with DJs down. Tuelewane kwa hii kitu. You guys hold the power and you wield the power of what music is appreciated in your country. The moment, even at times I understand also the radio stations, the mainstream radio stations quite hold the same power. But before we get to them, our own DJs, you guys wield a lot of ability to switch up the industry in Kenya. You have it. You have what it takes to change the musicians' lives. And by only deciding to give preference to their own local acts, I'm telling you, we'll be looking of a different type of society in our country. Guys will be swayed to do more of what is Kenyan and by Kenyan. And the sad part is that I've heard this from several artists who fly to countries like Nigeria. They come back saying that our own music isn't appreciated there. Those people understand the power of play. the power of what you play. They understand it. That's why they are deploying it in their own countries. You go to somewhere like TZ, Upper Bongo. I know they do play Kenyan music, but I wouldn't imagine it's in any way compared to what their own talent does. It's nowhere, I'm sure of it. Those people can't be lacking balance of how they play their own artist versus how they play the other acts from Kenya and from whatever country artists are coming from. I'm sure the priority is given to their own home artists. So let the DJs quite understand this. Let the radio stations, I know they are a bit, they're actually, I wouldn't want to shift blame to them, but they do play a very pivotal point in the growth of a country's music industry. And if they are oblivious of talent and they're just going whatever way they want to go, they actually challenge on why they should play 70% local content. They have an issue with doing that. And it's a problem. It's a problem. And it still goes down to what I've always said. Kikulacho kingoni mwako. It's our own audience, our own Kenyan audience, our own Kenyan radio stations, our own Kenyan DJs that are not tuning the rest of the world to our music, to our talents. It's them not doing what's duly diligent there. It's them. If they were to work those things out, we would be talking of another story here, by the way. We'd be talking of a whole different story. And something that I've always admired with Nigerians, because I've even interacted with a few of them here in our country that have come from their place and they are coming to Kenya. You cannot convince even a Nigerian who has stayed in Kenya for quite some time that the talent here can outdo theirs. Whenever their music comes up, oh my nigga, those people arise to the moment, yani. Like you can see it's ingrained in them. They have to push their own. Their own matters more than any other thing. And that's the attitude we quite need from our own industry. If we expect our artists to be able to even do collabos with other international artists, of which some of them have done so, and I commend them for having done so, it's a good thing. But for this industry of ours, Kenya, to be given the rightful place it deserves in our country, it only comes with our own people doing the necessary. At times, I know you want to blame the artist and claim that it's them who are not doing music that's... trust me, it's what you're listening to. If unasikiza wa mlambe, wa mnyonye, usikuje kusema hakuna Nikita Keren. Usikuje kusema hakuna... What's the name of this other kachik? Yani talent is there. Talent is there by far. There are musicians that are just wonderful in our country, but they never get their chance. Our DJs don't do what they're supposed to, what they ought to do. Our radio stations the same way. So how do you expect this artist that gets minimum to no airplay? How do you expect for them now to be in the same stage with an artist you play almost 5 times a day in your international artist, but you play for them a foreign artist from another country that you normally play more than 5 times in your station, and then you want them to stand in the same stage with your local artist who you rarely play music from, and you want them to share the same stage and their presence be felt the same. Nah, bruh. And the perception of people to be like, our own artists are better, that's a lie. That can only occur when you guys are doing what you should do as DJs. As radio stations, you guys need to do this thing to build our own industry. And I understand some of these things have quite gone to a place whereby, like, I've even tried this as an artist. I've tried to reach out to other media stations, social media handles, and just gone into their DM and asked them, where do I need to submit my music for consideration for airplay at your station? And only one came back to me. That was Capital FM. The rest, it was just I had no response from them. That's me trying to reach them from their social media platforms and asking this question: where can I submit my music for consideration of airplay? So that just tells you there's not even a structure of how an artist is supposed to uh, submit their music for scrutiny or feedback on what they need to do in order for their music to play on certain radio stations. There's none. None of them exists. So you just tell me, how do you guys acknowledge talent, your local owned talent? How do you guys get to know this person is talented if you guys don't have even a matrix or a system that can onboard said music to your for your revision? It's just crazy out here. I just hope things were better, but apparently that's what we have to deal with in Kenya. And I hope no artist gives up on their talent or gift due to the challenges that come with this. For me, after I decided, even if these guys decide they'll never play my music, I must still do what I love doing. It goes beyond me getting the approval from these said media stations, from these DJs. It goes beyond that. And this is the thing, even when you look for feedback, like you would expect now a DJ will tell you, your music has this sudden issue. The reason why I'm not putting it in my playlist is because the tempo, the genre is a problem. Nah, the problem, those are never the mentioned issues. It's just that you are not known. That's the reason why that person is not going to pick your music. And how else do you get to be known if not through these channels? I thank God for social media. It's creating room for some artists. And, but you see as I said earlier, you having trend on social media isn't equivalent to you having talent. I don't know whether that's making sense to someone. You having trended on social media on TikTok is not equivalent to you being a good artist or to be a exceptionally skilled musician. You can trend on TikTok and not be a musician and be doing something totally different outside music and be the talk of the town. So that should not be the matrix to what a good musician is. A good musician should communicate the message, should be able to give you incredible melodies, tell a story, etc. There are metrics to which you can check whether somebody is talented or not. I don't need to tell you guys this, because if some of you out there, I know you bang Eminem every day. Some of you always play Drake. Some of you have Lil Wayne in your playlist as we speak as of right now. Have you bothered to figure out whether there's a Kenyan talented similarly to Lil Wayne in the rap genre that you need to listen to? Or to you, that's substandard without even having to listen to what they have to offer. So I can tell that the problem has never been whether they can be able to evaluate whether talent or skill is there. That's not the problem. The problem is the mere biasness and the mere biasness against our own. Kikulacho kingoni mwako. There are guys in high end, in the ones that are in the upper class in Kenya. These guys listen to pop music, rock and roll, all that. And all that is foreign. I wish they were to Jaribu, just know one talent. Just find out a talent that you think deserves the honors that they don't have at the moment. And right now with social media, I'm sure once in a while you do come across such. I'm sure once in a while you do come across it. But the problem is with our people. Kupatiata subscription YouTube ni shida. And I consider it being too much of a favor. Leave alone now going to Spotify to stream your music. It's sad. I have no other words to describe it. It's just sad. And there's also this thing. There's a sudden post I came across that quite it quite made me ponder for a minute towards what it was insinuating. Na ilikuwa inasema Hoodlums don't recognize talent, or hoodlums don't support talent. It almost sounds like an insult, because I'm sure they're referencing to the ordinary raya, the ordinary fan music in Kenya, hatambui talent. So, and somehow almost seems like to be the case. Because you'd find tutakuwaga tuna issues mob tu kawa Kenya too, but anyway, I hope the best for all the musicians out there similar to me. Mi sitaachilia pen yangu juu watu wameamua mi si Rose ama Drake watanicheza. Hiyo ni shida yao. Ukipata mziki yangu ikubambe, ufili na kupea message, ufili na kuempower, more power to you. But it's unfortunate that guys here have a problem identifying what's talent and what's not. Si mara moja manze, seti nataka kuwa diss, seti nataka kuwa bring down, but manze ukiwa on your, if you're in your 20s and 30s and your favorite artist is Ken wa Maria, pole sana, nisijui ni kuambia nini. I can't begin to even explain to you what's wrong with that image. If the Mavio still is who you rock to, manze, I don't know what to tell you, man. Siati hana talent, but that's your matrix of talent.